My dear brothers and sisters, before we begin this beautiful reminder, I want to kindly request something from your heart. If you find benefit in these reminders, if you want to be part of spreading light and guidance, then please take a moment to like this video and subscribe to this channel. By doing so, you are not just supporting us, but you are joining in the reward of every person who hears a message that softens their heart, strengthens their faith, or brings them closer to Allah. Think of it as sadaqah jariyah, a continuous charity that lives beyond you. Each time someone remembers Allah because of this, you have a share in that reward. So let's begin this journey together with sincerity and hope. Now let us reflect on something that touches nearly every heart, the longing to find a soulmate. In Islam, we believe that marriage is not just about companionship. It is an act of worship, a path to tranquility, mercy, and spiritual completion. Allah tells us in the Qur'an, and among His signs is that He created for you from yourselves mates that you may find tranquility in them. And He placed between you affection and mercy. Indeed, in that are signs for a people who give thought. Surah Ar-Rum 30:21. Notice how Allah uses the word signs. This means that finding your soulmate is not random. It is written, designed, and orchestrated by the one who knows what is best for you. But often Allah introduces us to the person meant for us in ways that we don't immediately recognize. Sometimes it is hidden, sometimes it is subtle, and sometimes it is disguised as a test or a moment of growth. Today we will explore 5 ways Allah introduces you to your soulmate without you realizing. As you listen, I invite you to look at your own life and reflect deeply. Perhaps Allah is already guiding you and you may not have seen it before. Way 1, through your personal growth and trials. One of the most profound ways Allah introduces you to your soulmate is not by putting them in front of you immediately, but by preparing you for them. Sometimes the delay you feel, the loneliness you experience, or the trials you face are not punishments, they are preparation. Allah says in the Qur'an, perhaps you dislike a thing and it is good for you, and perhaps you love a thing and it is bad for you, but Allah knows while you know not. Surah Al-Baqarah 2:216. This means that the heartbreak you once went through, the rejection you faced, or the long years of waiting may all be part of shaping you into the person who can handle, appreciate, and nurture the relationship Allah has written for you. Your soulmate may already be out there, but Allah is refining your character so that when you both finally meet, you are not broken, you are not half complete, you are ready. Think about it. Sometimes you ask Allah for someone kind, loyal, patient, and faithful. But before He gives you such a person, Allah wants to see, are you developing those same qualities within yourself? Because marriage is not about taking, it is about giving. If you ask for patience, you must also learn patience. If you ask for someone who will value you, you must first value yourself in the eyes of Allah. This is why very often people meet their soulmate at a stage in life where they have overcome certain struggles, learned lessons, and finally begun to understand themselves. It is almost as if Allah is saying, now you are ready. Imagine someone who rushed into marriage before learning discipline, responsibility, or faith. That relationship would likely collapse, not because Allah didn't bless them, but because they themselves were not ready. Now imagine the opposite. Someone who went through hardships, learned to trust Allah, and grew in sabr. When they meet their soulmate, they come not as a burden, but as a partner who uplifts. That is divine timing. So the first way Allah introduces you to your soulmate is not necessarily by their physical presence, but by the silent, unseen preparation He places in your life. Every test is a step closer to them. Every tear is washing away immaturity. Every dua you make is aligning you with what He knows you need. And maybe right now as you're listening to this, you are in that very process. You wonder why it hasn't happened yet, but Allah is whispering to your heart, be patient. I am preparing something for you and I am preparing you for something. Way 2, through coincidences that aren't really coincidences. Another beautiful way Allah introduces you to your soulmate without you realizing is through what we often call coincidences. But as believers, we know nothing is coincidence. It is Qadr, divine decree. Sometimes you keep crossing paths with someone in ways that seem ordinary but are actually extraordinary. For example, perhaps you attend an event and see the same person multiple times in different places. Maybe your families already know each other, but you never paid attention until one day suddenly you notice. Or maybe you encounter someone online through an Islamic group, charity work, or mutual connection and tea. His timing is so strange that you can't help but wonder, why now? Allah arranges these moments in ways we cannot calculate. He places people in your path at the right time, not too early, not too late. You might not even realize the significance at first, but when you look back, you see how perfectly orchestrated it was. The Prophet once said, "What has reached you was never meant to miss you, and what has missed you was never meant to reach you." Sunan Abi Dawood. This means that even in these so-called random meetings, there is purpose. If someone is meant to be your spouse, Allah will align circumstances, places and timings so that your paths cross not once, not twice, but until you realize it. But here's the key, you might not recognize it immediately. Sometimes your soulmate is already in your life in a hidden way. You may think of them only as a colleague, a family friend, or someone you occasionally see. Yet Allah has already begun the introduction, and when the right time comes, the light will shine and what was hidden will become clear. So the second way Allah introduces you to your soulmate is through subtle repeated encounters, moments that seem ordinary, but in reality, they are extraordinary signs of His divine plan. Way 3, through the reflection of your du'as. One of the most powerful and hidden ways Allah introduces you to your soulmate is through the mirror of your own du'as. Think about it. Every time you raise your hands and ask Allah for a partner with certain qualities, you are planting seeds in the unseen. Sometimes those du'as take years to grow, but the roots are forming long before you ever see the result. Allah reminds us in the Qur'an, and your Lord says, "Call upon me, I will respond to you." Surah Ghafir 40:60. The response may not come immediately, but it is guaranteed in the way that is best. If you are asking for someone honest, Allah might guide you through people who are dishonest first, so that you can appreciate honesty when it arrives. If you're asking for someone pious, Allah may distance you from environments and friendships that keep you away from piety, so that when the right person appears, you both meet on the path of faith. Here's the beauty. Often your soulmate is making the same dua at the same time. They are asking Allah for someone exactly like you without even knowing you exist yet. Imagine both of your prayers rising to the heavens and Allah smiling upon you, knowing that your destinies are about to align. You might think you are waiting, but in reality, Allah is arranging, synchronizing, weaving both of your lives together through your supplications. Sometimes Allah even shows you glimpses of your dua before the person fully enters your life. You may meet someone who carries one or two of the qualities you asked for, but not all. That's a sign. It is Allah teaching you patience and showing you that your dua is not ignored. It is unfolding step by step. This is why, my dear brothers and sisters, never stop making dua for your spouse. Even if you are single, even if you feel like it's far away, even if society tells you it's too late, remember, dua is timeless. It reaches places that your hands cannot, and it works silently until the day you see it manifest before your eyes. And perhaps, just perhaps, the person you have been praying for has already been introduced into your life, but you don't realize it yet because Allah is still polishing the circumstances. One day when it happens, you will look back and whisper, "Subhanallah, this is exactly what I prayed for." So the third way Allah introduces you to your soulmate is through the very du'as you make. Your heart's whispers to Allah are not empty. They are threads being woven into a divine story. Way 4. Through the influence of family, friends and trusted people. Another way Allah introduces you to your soulmate without you realizing is through the circle around you. Your family, friends, teachers or even strangers who act as a bridge between you and the one written for you. In Islam, seeking counsel and involving trusted people is not only wise, it is recommended. The Prophet said, "The believer is the mirror of his brother." Abu Dawood. Sometimes others can see what you cannot see. A parent may notice someone's character and suggest you consider them. A friend may introduce you casually without even knowing that Allah is using them as the means to your destiny. Even in arranged marriages, where families play a strong role, remember this: no matter how the arrangement happens, if Allah has written it, it will be smooth and full of barakah. There are countless real-life examples of this. Perhaps a sibling's friend becomes your spouse. Perhaps you volunteer for an Islamic event and someone in the organizing team suggests a person you never thought about before. At first you might not see it as special, it may feel ordinary. But this is Allah's way of using people as instruments of His decree. It is also important to remember that sometimes people in your circle serve as protectors. They may discourage a match that looks appealing on the surface, but would harm your deen or your peace. That too is a way Allah introduces you to the right one, by steering you away from the wrong one through the advice of others. Think of the story of Musa, when he fled from Egypt and arrived in Madian, exhausted and lost, he found two women struggling to water their flock. He helped them and later their father invited him. From that moment, Allah arranged for Musa, to meet the woman who would become his wife. And how did it happen? Through the introduction of others. It was not a direct meeting. It was through family and circumstance that Allah wove His path toward marriage. This is a reminder that your soulmate may not enter your life dramatically or romantically. They may enter through a simple recommendation, a small introduction, or a gentle nudge from someone you trust. Do not underestimate these connections, because Allah often works through means we least expect. So the fourth way Allah introduces you to your soulmate is by using your community, your loved ones, and your social ties as a bridge. What feels like casual human interaction is often the divine pen writing your future. At this point, we have covered 4 profound ways Allah introduces you to your soulmate without you realizing, through your personal growth and trials, through coincidences that are actually divine appointments, through the reflection of your du'as, through the influence of family, friends, and trusted people. Each one of these reminds us that Allah is closer to us than we imagine, orchestrating details of our lives in ways beyond our vision. And yet, there is one final way, a way that is deeply spiritual, powerful, and often overlooked. It is the most intimate of all introductions, and in part 3, we will uncover it together. Way 5, through the alignment of your faith and purpose. The final and perhaps most beautiful way Allah introduces you to your soulmate without you realizing is through the alignment of your deen, your values, and your life's purpose. Marriage in Islam is not just about attraction, emotions, or companionship. It is about walking together toward Jannah. Your true soulmate is the one who does not just hold your hand in this world, but who also prays for your hand in the next. They are the person who reminds you of Allah when you forget, lifts you up when you stumble, and inspires you to become a better believer. Allah tells us in the Qur'an, good women are for good men and good men are for good women. Surah An-Nur 24:26. This means that often your soulmate is introduced to you when your faith aligns. You may have crossed paths earlier in life, but perhaps one or both of you were not ready spiritually. Then as Allah guides you both toward Him, He aligns your hearts and places you on the same journey. Think of it like 2 rivers flowing separately. At first they move in different directions, but eventually by Allah's will, they merge into one stream, carrying both toward the same ocean. This is what it means to meet your soulmate when your purposes align. Sometimes Allah brings someone into your life at the very moment you are rediscovering your deen. Maybe you started praying more consistently, attending Islamic classes, or surrounding yourself with righteous company, and suddenly someone with a similar passion for Islam enters your circle. You don't even realize it at first, but Allah is showing you, here is someone whose heart beats for me just as yours does. The Prophet beautifully described this when he said, when a servant of Allah marries, he has completed half of his religion. Then let him fear Allah with regard to the other half. Bayhaqi, Shu'ab, Al-Iman. This hadith shows us that marriage is part of our journey to complete our faith. So it makes perfect sense that Allah would introduce you to your soulmate through faith itself, by guiding both of you toward Him and then toward each other. And the truth is, you may not even recognize this person as your soulmate at first. You may see them simply as someone in your Islamic class, a fellow volunteer at a masjid event, or a person who shares your passion for da'wah or Qur'an recitation. But slowly you realize that what you share is more than an interest, it is a life purpose. So the 5th way Allah introduces you to your soulmate is through the spiritual alignment of your hearts and paths. When your deen begins to flow, when your purpose becomes clear, Allah places the one who is meant to walk beside you on that very same path. Now, dear brothers and sisters, let us take a moment to reflect on everything we have discussed. Allah's ways are subtle, wise, and often hidden from our limited sight. We have learned that Allah prepares us through personal growth and trials. He orchestrates coincidences that are not coincidences at all. He answers our du'as in ways we cannot always see immediately. He uses family, friends, and trusted people as bridges. And ultimately, He aligns our faith and life purpose with that of our soulmate. All of this should remind us of one powerful truth. Finding your soulmate is not in your hands, it is in Allah's. Your role is to strive, to purify your heart, to make dua sincerely, and to trust His plan. Sometimes you may feel delayed, sometimes you may feel overlooked, sometimes you may even wonder, has Allah forgotten me? But remember this, Allah never forgets. He knows your heart better than you do. He knows the tears you shed at night, the loneliness you carry, and the longing you hold. And He is already working behind the scenes in ways you cannot imagine. Perhaps He is protecting you from heartbreak by keeping you apart from someone who looks right but is wrong for your soul. Perhaps He is elevating your rank in patience so that when you meet your spouse, your marriage will be built on strength. Perhaps He is giving you time to love Him first, because the one who loves Allah sincerely will recognize and cherish someone else who does too. So do not despair, do not rush, do not compare yourself to others. Instead, focus on building your relationship with Allah, because the closer you are to Him, the closer you will be to the one He has written for you. And if you are already married, let this reminder soften your heart toward your spouse. Remember that they are not in your life by accident. They are chosen for you by Allah, and your journey together is part of His divine wisdom. My beloved brothers and sisters, as we close this reminder, I want to leave you with this. Your soulmate is not just the one you live with, it is the one you die with and rise with before Allah. That is why marriage in Islam is such a sacred bond. It is more than love, it is worship. So keep praying, keep trusting, keep walking the path of faith. And one day when Allah's timing is perfect, you will realize that He has already introduced you to your soulmate, perhaps in ways you never recognized before. If this reminder touched your heart, I kindly ask you once more, please like this video, subscribe to the channel, and share it with someone who may benefit. Together, let's spread light. Sats. Hope and trust in Allah's plan. May Allah grant every single one of us a spouse who is the coolness of our eyes and a companion in both worlds. Ameen.